It's okay. You can disagree equally as women while men are there. Don't belittle them.
I've always believed it's so important to recognize role models who we look up to and recognize how they impact us and how we've learned from them, how they inspire us. I look up to so many people, especially women, who I aim to take after. One of my role models is Melissa Draganac Hawk, the current president of NAD. Melissa is also the first deaf woman of color president of NAD. I remember meeting her when I was a Gallaudet student. She immediately stood out to me with her activism and leadership in various organizations, while always having the personality of being very approachable. Her words of wisdom always seemed to hit the spot. Of course, with her current journey as NAD president, I've been curious how her experience has been in terms of how she navigates male oppression and whether she feels she has to work harder to prove herself.
Back then, when I was younger in junior NAD, I was in high school, maybe a freshman. When I was involved, I didn't understand their advocacy until I thought about my parents, who are deaf and moved here from another country. They struggled with language. They also struggled to understand America's system and interact with people. They would have an interpreter and all that, and I've seen that. So when I was in junior NAD, it woke me up to advocacy, and I connected that to my parents. In youth leadership camp, I understood how it mattered when they taught about leadership and citizenship. And that stayed with me ever since. My passion grew from there. Now fast forward to about 2008, the board decided to reach out to me to choose me as a board member, and I was thrilled. They chose me for a certain position as a diversity strategy team member, and I was compelled by the idea. And I started with the job, and I fell in love with NAD ever since. Now, I was recently elected for a second time as president of NAD, and it'll be my 11th year. I remember this clearly. The first night, really after the election was announced, that first night, people were like, first POC. And it started to feel like, oh, do I need to do more work? Do I encourage them to come or keep it the same by representing myself to show that I can do it? Would that encourage them to do the same thing? Sometimes it isn't effective, but I needed to do it for myself a little bit. Not only that, but in general, we need to welcome a variety of people to see each other as equals, not only POC, but also others from other unique groups, so we're all seen as equals. That's my vision.
For a long time, NAD has had that reputation of having white men on the board. So I think that maybe that's one of the reasons why many of us were thrilled to see you elected as president. You're our hope, like our representation. That makes it inclusive for us.
We have our DST, the Diversity Strategy Team, and one requirement is that every board member has to be trained. I've seen some comments where I was like, oh, I see. They had no idea that they had innocent intentions, but I saw it a different way. When we'd all get together, I'd say, why do you speak that way? Like, help me understand your perspective. Sometimes I'd ask them why. The reasons would be the background they came from. One thing they did that made my heart drop was when I was elected as vice president, the officials were 3 white men and 1 Latinx woman together. I had already worked with 3 of them before. I was like, let's see how much they listen to each other as equals and respect each other. Wow, there was a complete mutual respect since day one. We got together and shared everything. I really enjoyed it. It helped me be more comfortable. Really, my magic touch is that I listen to people. I hear them out about what they need, issues, or where they'd like to see improvements from different groups. I like to listen to them and take the issues to bring it to the team to discuss things and make it happen. That. I wouldn't be like I wouldn't listen and then be done with it. That's not who I am. I listen and bring them forward again and again. If an idea is beneficial for everyone, let's do it. Do people feel safe? I don't sense it. It's not like I'd go and socialize. I've seen some interact, sure, but some don't feel comfortable. I've seen it here and there. I've heard some comments that made me cringe, like the feeling of being unwelcome. Is it common? I don't know, but it recurred a bit from what I've seen. But really, my biggest touching moment, the people coming to the conference for the first time, to the meeting and delegates, both of them are important. I need to make better plans for all those people, be prepared in 2 years. One common passion from us is deaf rights. Our lives aren't as fair as the hearing people. No, the equality is not there, so we have to keep fighting until we're equal and NAD isn't there anymore. But what we have now, we need to keep going. Yes, I've been hearing that comment for so long. More and more of that came up over the past few years. We need to have more open communication. Really, NAD inside, we do so much. The NAD staff, it's more than before. So how can we show that? How? We include the board and the volunteers, who work about 20 hours a week, and even more than that too. Even the board meetings are on every Sunday for video phone.
Every week on Sunday?
Every week.
Oh, wow.
On Sundays for 2 years in a row. The board meetings are monthly. Regional meetings are monthly. The committees would have their bi-monthly or monthly meetings. There were many, but they weren't notifying the people. So we had to discuss this issue. We have an annual report showing how many times we met, and it's not enough. We need to break it down more. One of the board's goals is to be more transparent, like how much information we provide. Maybe simple information to them to understand it better or more. That's something we discuss as a team.
I agree with you about the transparency part. That's important. So we know that you all are doing the best you can, and it's okay to share that. You'd be like, yes, I want to do this, but I'm not sure how to express it. It shows that human side of you all, showing that you're doing the best you could do with the volunteers' time. It's admirable. You know, I'm sure you've had many suggestions and visions. Like, we all want this and this and this.
I have plenty. I have 3 assistants who put down everything.
Oh, wow.
I'm so excited to see all of it. Yeah, I have them, but understand that they're all different. Like going to an ice cream store and you try to decide the flavor, so you'd pick many of them and stack them together. It's the same concept. I've seen many deaf women leaders since my high school years. One deaf female principal from high school, I looked up to her. She's a woman and she managed a staff of hearing people, and I looked up to her because some other leaders wouldn't fit me. The other is a former NAD president, who I looked up to. That kind of leadership I looked up to. Over the years, I would pick the ones that fit with my personality and character, blending them together. Is there only one person? No.
All of their personalities stay with you.
Yes.
I think that's maybe your secret.
Maybe.
Not just one style, but many different ones that stay with you.
Yeah, it's true. No, but I've heard many stories from women. Many. Strong comments about being depressed as a deaf person. And the comments made me think about, how do I support women? One person asked me for help, and I thought to myself, how do I do that? I confidently gave my support to build them up, that and listening to myself, oppression. I'm looking back, nothing.
Sometimes, you know, we're in a situation where we're oppressed, but we don't realize it until later. That could be it.
That could be it.
Looking back, I'd be like, oh, hey, that's not right.
I went to another country and I've seen clearly that men oppressed women. It was very clear, but not to me. Because I'm an American. Me flying to another country, they'd back off, but they'd oppress others. I was taken aback by that. I couldn't interfere because of their culture. But here in America, I might need to analyze it more.
I'm curious, if you don't mind me asking, if you see those kinds of comments, how would it be the best way to respond to that? You call them out or talk with them privately and say it isn't right?
It depends on the person.
That's true.
When, the setting. If it's during a meeting, I'd wait until after the meeting to talk with them in private and ask them why they said that. If I'm sitting and chatting with someone and they mention something that's wrong, I'll ask them, why did you say that? Any reason you said that? Did you realize what you just said? They'd be like, oh, really? Oh, they'd feel embarrassed. That confronting kind of thing. It's not easy to let you know. Before I'd get nervous, I'd back away and wait 1, 2, 3 days, and it'd be old by then. I need to be prompt when it comes to that. It took years to feel that confident. I think many women should develop that feeling where you can find the right way to ask safely too and go from there. Women getting together to discuss, but you can all teach each other first. Don't let them make comments make you feel awful. If they make comments, you can talk about it with others to understand their perspective and why they said it. Discuss about it and support each other. Go to a deaf women's conference or deaf, it doesn't have to be a deaf conference, but where women can get together at night or go out to dinner to talk about it. Talk with them and analyze yourself. Sometimes analyzing alone can help, but it doesn't help other perspectives discuss it. But get together to discuss, to build up, to be more clear and understanding. You can talk about why those people make those kinds of comments and how relevant it is. Or you can help them understand better. They may be ignorant. In any group, socializing or meetings or business, women would interact and discuss things. If any woman, myself, talk to the other woman and end up disagreeing, it's okay. You can disagree equally as women while men are there. Don't belittle them. If women discuss a hot topic together, they can talk about it. As opposed to other different people, you have to respect them as equals. They would see it as, oh, it's okay to pull them down, meaning we can pull them down too. That I think it's important for women to keep in mind to support within reason. Self-care tips. Sleep for 8 hours every day. That's important. I do like to run once in a while. It helps me think. If I have the time, I love to travel even for a day with my family.